and welcome to the back nine final round of the Yetter v29.22 from Tyler State Park East. This tournament is brought to you by Bucks County Disc Golf Alliance, BS Upshot, and of course our Patreon family. You can join our Patreon for those $2. I'm Dave Oster, here to bring you the conclusion of this tournament. We have a pretty sizable lead by our leader, but still 9 difficult holes to go. Anything can happen. And getting started on the easiest hole on the course, hole 10, par 3, 220 feet, pretty much a straight shot, backhand or forehand. A little bit more angle needed if you go to the left side, but we'll see what these players are doing. Starting off with Brian O'Neill turning this way over, being the left side rough, but this hole being only 220 feet, should be able to pitch out and up to save the par. And David Giambra going very wide, but clearing everything and all but parking that basket. Curtis Toews going more of the traditional line, but also turning this over. We are getting close to the open field holes, wondering if there's a little bit of wind coming through that these players aren't expecting. And former world champion Joseph Mela, the lefty on the card, suits his lefty backhand line a little bit better, but catching that last tree. Good upshot for Curtis. He'll have a putt to save his par. Brian hopefully able to get out clean and not clean enough. Rolling kind of towards the basket. He'll have a long look at it to save his par. Joe with a pretty good bid, just short. Good height, little flexy, ultimate style shot there. And just left for Brian to save his par. And he'll still have a little bit of work for his bogey. And good par for Curtis. Staying at 5 down. Still even for the round. And Brian for his bogey. Nice putt to limit the damage. Certainly on a hole like this, bogey hurts more than most, being the easiest on the course. But you gotta deal with what you have been dealt with. So, good birdie by David. Didn't look like a birdie out of his hand, but found a way through. And he will take it, I am sure. As we move over to hole 11, par 4, 574 feet. Again, the theme of Tyler State Park is these kind of shorter par 4s and 5s, under 400 or 500 feet. This one a little bit over, closer to 600 feet, but a lot more of the difficulty comes with the lines you have to hit and the thick rough if you don't. So certainly reachable when it comes to distance, but a lot of these players are not going to be trying to throw something all the way down there full power. More just trying to hit the lines, although Curtis throws maybe a fairway, getting a lot of the way up there on the right side. He should be able to reach out for that one. Oh, Joe, a little early. I'm sure grip issues are at least in the players' minds, if not actually causing issues, as we see Brian catching the same tree. Kicking away from it, should have a decent run up. And that's looking like a good shot. Left side, a little bit better. As long as he's not behind that tree, kicks out. That should be good for another backhand hyzer. Joe going with the roller, maybe? Catches the tree right in front of him, kicks directly sideways. Just real quick, steps up and throws a pretty good shot. He'll be on the right side again, but got a lot of distance there. And David with a beautiful forehand turnover. Catches that last tree, but that's probably a good tree, keeping him out of the rough. And another beautiful shot from Joe after, I think he hit the same tree twice. which is obviously unfortunate, but followed up by two beautiful shots. Par obviously out of the question, but could have gotten a lot worse if he didn't start throwing some better shots. Curtis was the farthest off the tee. He's pretty far up there, but on the left side. We'll see exactly what he has coming up. And great approach for Brian. That looks like it should be a pretty easy par save. And just maybe a little early out of the hand for David, but fortunately he probably has a circle 2 look at it. And Joe with a great approach. So 3 great shots. If they were the 3 off the tee, probably would have been under the basket for a birdie. But with a couple extra strokes on top of that, he'll be cashing in a bogey or double, I'm not sure. And David thought he had it. That was a great putt just off the rim. Curtis with a good putt for par. And everybody else pretty much just under the basket waiting to tap in their turn. 11 was playing almost an entire stroke over par on the harder half of the holes. And 0 birdies on the day for this group, the MPO division, that is. Not surprised, given the conditions and the difficulty of that hole just in general. On to a little bit of an easier hole, par 3, 338 feet. That distance seems a little short to me, but kind of beeline. It's probably about that far, but the angle you have to release the disc on and the line you're going is a lot wider than that. Curtis throws a little bit more of the inside line, gets over that recently fallen tree, and a great little kick and roll out towards the basket. He's still probably outside of the circle, but he'll have a look at it. Scary putt with the little creek bed behind him. Oh, good throw for Brian. Looks like he kicked off that tree and came back. Otherwise, that was going to skip right up to the basket. This looks like a little high for David, but pushes forward, just clears that tree. He'll be a little bit further than the other 2 guys, but he's up there. And Joe going with the turnover shot. Gotta be an understable disc, and it is. The only issue is that it's not going to be able to skip as much as you would, because it's going to be coming back the other way. So he did about as good as he could and skips it up right up to the basket. So for the lefty backhand, that's probably about as good as you can play the hole. And Brian smartly laying it up to the base. David a little bit closer. Let's see what he decides to do. Also just laying it up to the base. And Curtis as well seems to be the play. Sit down. Alright. Little roll away. Oh, well, that went pretty far. And doesn't matter for Curtis. Nails the putt to save the par. That was a 3 feet above his head putt going up to this already elevated basket from down below. Not an easy putt, but he made it work. And the rest of these guys are under the basket to do the same. Different ways to get par, but that will all be the same on the scorecard. As we move over to hole 13, another par 5 under 500 feet. But again, like I was saying, it is a difficult 500 feet. This one is probably also playing more like 530 to 550. It could be the pin positions are different than what is actually listed, but you get the idea. It's a par 5, a lot of lines to hit, very far straight, just slight bend to the right at the end, and basket on an elevated pedestal behind the split trees that used to house the basket. Now just behind it. A little bit right side for David. I believe Brian caught one in an early tree again.
Oh my God, come on, backdoor it.
Joe looks like he might have got lucky, missed a big tree. Maybe not. His facial expression said otherwise. So Brian had been having some trouble off the tee, but his play after that has been keeping him right about at even for the last 6 holes or so. If he can get clean off the tee and continue playing how he was, or is, he may be able to start going in the right direction. Joe catching a tree, trying the roller again. Good play from where he was. Just needed to take it a little bit either tighter or wider to miss that tree. And skipping over to that right side. Oh, and I think David caught that tree right in front of him. Not progressing more than a few feet. But able to get out on that second shot. And Brian continuing to play beautifully up the fairway after his tee shots. Out into the open where it starts to bend to the right. He will likely be able to get up and down for a par from there. Curtis with a nice flare skip, getting close to around that corner. And Joe looks like he's trying to go roller through the woods. Not quite able to get through there. Ooh, and shot down by a seemingly very small tree. Joe trying to go the forehand roller now around the corner and just barely makes it around the corner. That was a difficult angle for David. With that big tree right there in his face, kind of needed to throw a bit of a flex shot to get around the corner and then back towards the basket. And that's a par putt for Brian after hitting the first available. His play after his tee shot, like I said, is doing pretty well. If he can just straighten out those tee shots, he should be fine. And Joe with another chicken wing to try to get out of trouble. Tough to get any power off of that from the position he was. Ooh, and almost runs it. Unfortunately, this hole was not kind to Joe. He's going to be taking a big number. And almost saving maybe the bogey for David. And this is Brian to save his par. And nice putt to end that hole. This hole is playing extremely hard, so these above par scores aren't as severe as you would think. Playing almost a stroke and a half above par on a par 5, so averaging almost 7 on this field is pretty incredible. Oh, and missing the putt. So I believe that's going to be a 9 for Joe. Double bogey for David. Again, that's about average. And Joe with the quad. Definitely not having the round that he was hoping for. But still smiling. Still quite a few holes to go. This is the triple mando hole in a different orientation than would normally be for a triple mando. There's this single mando first that Curtis almost missed, kicked the right side tree, and then back in front of the left side tree, but didn't cross into the restricted zone. So he'll still have to go to the right side of that mando. And this is the ideal landing spot. Finally getting a good tee shot for Brian. Hopefully he can get up and down for a birdie from there. And following suit is David, also pretty good shot. And as long as that tree isn't in his way, then he'll have a good good approach for a second shot. And I believe Joe's setting up the chicken wing again and gets around the Mando. And beautiful, right about up with those guys. It is really incredible the precision he has with that very uncommon shot. And speaking of uncommon shots, Curtis forced to go with a very high forehand just to try to make the Mando, and now he's right side rough, far away from the next set of double Mandos. Not sure if he's even going to try to push them yet, and he's not. But we see the last two making it the three Mandos for this hole. Turnover, getting through. Oh, and catching that last tree. Also needing to go through, under, or over this last fence. A pretty well guarded and unique hole. Very fun to play. These guys, maybe not on today with the conditions would say so, but typically a pretty fun hole. So that tree was in David's way and made the Mando and kicked backwards. There is a rope marking the restricted space. We'll see how close he is. Oh, and Curtis almost throwing it in to save the par. Actually, that would have been for birdie. And we see how close David actually was. That string, if he had gone back behind it after already making the Mando, that would have been a penalty stroke with the new PDGA rule. But fortunate to be able to just pitch up. And off the basket. Almost a great hole for Joe with the chicken wing tee shot. And Brian for birdie. Oh, hitting the same exact spot on the basket. Almost able to get his birdie. Oh. And a very short miss for Curtis. Bringing him a double bogey. So, couple holes to go. Curtis misses a short putt. Brian is playing very well, although 6 strokes back, but there's a lot of high par holes left. A lot of opportunity for 2, 3 stroke swings. I'm not saying it's over. As we'll see, starting as we continue on hole 15, another par 4, 471 feet. You want to stay left side, but not too left because there's rough. Right side all the way down is an out of bounds creek. A couple bridges you have to get over. I believe all of the water on the fairway and under the bridges are casual. The creek on the right side is the only actual out of bounds on this hole. And Brian looks like it's got another great tee shot. And turn and catch Cam Wendy around. When you do that, you know it's a good throw. David needs to miss that one. Not too bad. Gets that left kick. Obviously, like I said, left side is where you want to be. Narrowly missing the first tree. And pretty good result. Looked like it came out a bit early, but missing a few trees narrowly and ended up in a good spot. Curtis also with a good throw. That's a typical landing zone, but still about 60 to 70 feet short of Brian's drive. So David left side. Oh, almost missed that tree. Pretty good flex forehand. Getting him maybe back into position to save the par if that tree, again, isn't in his way too much. Joe with a good second shot. Right, kind of in the middle, little left side. Should be able to get up and down if he's got a clear shot. Curtis with a pretty good line. Ooh, kicks down. I wasn't sure if he was going straight up the gut or to that right side on purpose. Oh, and that needs to sit. Okay, I believe it's in bounds. There is a little dry spot from the drought summer we've had that isn't typically in the water. Is typically underwater, but I think that's where David is now. Just barely on the edge. And kicks down, landing in the water. So narrowly avoided it the first time. Not able to on his next throw. And Joe almost ringing up the birdie from across the bridge. And Curtis takes it wide, gets over everything and parks it. Nice shot that'll be for his par. I don't want to overlook Brian's second drive getting to here. Now he has a birdie putt. And nails it. Dead center chains. Bringing it to within 5 of Curtis. And Joe for his par. And nice putt. David, after that out of bounds stroke, will be taking the unfortunate double, I believe. Triple, excuse me. That is obviously not the result he was looking for. But a couple holes left to go. Hole 16, another par 5, 874 feet to the new long pin position. The fairway actually splits right here with an out of bounds area in the middle. And both ways get you around and meet back up on the green. A lot of trees and fallen trees to avoid as your approach shot, probably your third shot or maybe even fourth because of the actual distance. This is more of a true par 5 in terms of distance. And these players are also throwing over out of bounds on the right side for their tee. And if they skip too far left, it's also out of bounds. So lots of things to avoid. And without needing to say it, I bet you could guess that this is the hardest hole on the course today. Playing at 1.53 strokes over par. So par 5, the average was 6.53 of the entire MPO field today. And that needs to sit. That is close. Didn't see the OB graphic. It is inbounds. Joe taking it from where he went out off the tee shot, not very far off the tee. And this is David's shot. Players taking a look, writing the flags up to see where the base of it is and determine that he was in bounds. So he'll be throwing his second shot from here. And landing at the mouth of the left fairway. He could still kind of cross back over to that right side if he chooses, but from where he is, he may be going down that left side. Brian with a good second shot. Really want to just try to get up to the flat part of the hill so you have flat footing for your next shot. Curtis turning this over a bit, but does fade back, gets a good skip. And he's quite a ways up there, far up and on that right side. We'll see what kind of angle he has coming in. The approach shot for their third or fourth shots is a tricky one, like we saw all the trees up by the green, but then also the angle. It's pretty like a straight to Hyzer shot with a hard hook at the end. And Brian almost doing just that, missing the basket by probably less than a foot, skipping to the edge of the circle, or the edge of the green at least. And David going that left side route, and right under the basket. Great shot by him. Narrowly avoiding that out of bounds and certainly taking advantage of that. I think that will be for his birdie. Curtis came up a little bit short, almost making it on his fourth shot. These long par fives, it's hard to keep track of how many shots these players have had. And this is Brian for the second birdie in a row. And nails the putt. That was probably 35, 38 feet over the log in the long grass. Oh, and off the top of the band. Not what Curtis wanted after Brian just gets a birdie. And there's that two-stroke swing. So now it's within 3 with 2 to go. And certainly a couple more few stroke swings can happen. So after seemingly a runaway of Curtis, I think he was 6 or 7 strokes ahead at one point. And the momentum on Brian's side, this is looking like it's going to come down to the wire. And we will see as we begin the rest of this round on hole 17. Another par 4, a little bit longer, 600 feet, mostly out in the open. A lot of OB on the right side, pretty much all the way down. And then basket tucked in this grouping of trees. So placement on your second shot will really be important to have a non-obstructed birdie putt or whatever score you're at once you get up there. First shot, all you really need to do is get some distance. Don't turn it over so you don't go out of bounds. This flipped up to flat, needs to come back. Almost rolls back in, unfortunate, out of bounds. And he went out fairly early, and that's kind of the risk of taking that big wide hyzer. Usually you think it's gonna come right back in, but David's, we saw, flipped up. And he was out of bounds maybe 20 feet off the tee pad. Joe with a good tee shot right out to the middle. And you see David still pretty much exactly where his tee shot went out, obviously. See that Air Force disc over on the right side? It's the Air Force stamped Innova Rock 3 USDGC tribute disc. We are giving away on our Patreon this month as a bonus disc giveaway. We do lots of disc giveaways, one at least every month, highlights from every tournament. We also have a merch tier, so if you are interested in seeing what we have to offer on our Patreon, you can head over to patreon.com/HyzerMedia. But now back to the action. Brian with a great shot, overall out of bounds almost the whole way. In the circle, we'll see exactly where he is in comparison to those trees to see if he has a putt. It looks like left side he should be able to. Curtis playing the hole almost exactly the same. Higher up on the hill, more of a straight shot down at it. And Joe skipping just past those trees. He's probably the closest of the bunch. And David looks like he has a clear putt. That will be probably for his bogey. And there's the birdie that Curtis needs. Back to 3 over, and now Brian to keep pace. And nails it. Alright, keeps it within 3 and has fought back to even par. Great back 9 so far for Brian with only one hole to go. Hole 18 is another par 4 uphill. Lots of things can go wrong. So putting himself into a position where something could happen is what you got to do. Brian is in it to win it. David with the unfortunate missed putt plus the out of bounds. That will leave him a triple bogey. But we head over to the 18th hole, the 36th of this tournament, par 4, 320 feet, but uphill all the way, probably playing closer to 400. Basket elevated on top of the hill, surrounded by that rock wall. Mando on the left, forcing you to go around it. Oh, and catching one of the first available trees. kicking left. And Curtis also catching one of the first available trees. So, they're kind of going shot for shot. Brian really needs something to continue going wrong for Curtis. Not that anybody ever hopes for that, but if anybody's going to catch Curtis, that's what needs to happen. And David, the best shot out of the group, gets all the way up. We'll have more of a straight shot up the hill from there. Joe near the mando, so he can kind of cut the corner a little bit. And looks like he trickled right up to the green. The basket is just beyond that grouping of bushes up and to the right. Right about where David sounded like he might have hit the base of the pole. Curtis looks like he's up a little bit higher compared to the basket. And Brian for par. Oh, just a little bit left. And he did sit, fortunately. He's right there. Still out. And nice putt. Way to stay in it. Unfortunate bogey to end his 3 birdie streak. But great battle back towards the end. Joe Mela, obviously not the round he was looking for, but hanging in with these guys. Former world champ, still out there. But Curtis Toews with the lead after the first round. Only 2 players finishing under par. And the only player to finish this tournament under par. Your winner of the 2022 Yetter, Curtis Toews. Congratulations to him, and thank you all for watching. Take a quick look at the results. Shows you how hard these conditions were. Even par was 10-14 rated. So, very hard. Good job, all these guys battling through. Thank you all for watching this entire tournament. 36 holes at Tyler is not easy. Thank you to our supporting sponsors for helping get this tournament running. And we have quite a few tournaments still left this year, so if you haven't done so already, subscribe to catch the coverage for them. And we will see you on the next hole.